So, how's the both of you? How you doing? And how's the rest of the band?
Well,
Good.
yeah, really good, really good. Exciting times. I mean, there's tons of work, but everything, all the work we have to do is it's great because I mean, kind of makes us happy.
Yeah.
So that's good.
So, with these interviews, I like to go all the way back to the beginning, to learn more about yourselves and what life was like growing up. So, um, what was life like growing up, and what was the music you were into, and how did you become musicians and singers?
Mm, mm.
You want to
Uh,
start?
okay, so I can start. Yeah. Yeah. So for me, I only entered the metal world once I joined Helveti. Of course, I knew like the hits of Helveti, and of course, I knew all the bigger metal bands and so on. But really, like in my childhood and in my teenage years, I was listening mostly to Disney songs, musical theater songs,
Yeah,
the big ballads from Whitney Houston, Mariah Carey. Once when I spent 1 year in Sweden, I got into the Swedish folk.
yeah,
That was in 2014. So 3 years later, I joined Helveti. Um, yeah, so I definitely come from a very different corner in that sense. Because maybe also my brother, he is a hip hop guy. So it also shapes you, right? I mean,
yeah,
exactly. So I grew up differently. And since I joined Helveti, this whole new world opened up for me. And yeah, I think it's also very interesting if you have these different influences coming together now in Illumishade or in metal
yeah,
overall. It really leaves a lot of space for that. So it's really cool.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's like uh, my music taste, although I would say I'm a metalhead. I love musicals as well. I like Jesus Christ Superstar is
Yeah.
just amazing,
Yeah.
and I can't really say I'm a Disney fan, because I don't really watch, only when I was little. But there's some big songs there. What about yourself, Jonas?
I have to say this is a great question. We haven't had that one. I think for I mean in all those interviews now for the new album. Yeah, I mean, I'm really still I was always have been and still am a big nerd about music, and
Yeah,
I mean I grew up with I would say classic rock. So the first the probably one of the biggest impacts still musically that anything had on my life was that at the Freddie Mercury tribute concert they when he died they had this
yeah,
huge show at Wembley,
yeah,
which you know, about to raise awareness for AIDS and everything. And they had Queen, of course, and they had Extreme and Guns N' Roses and Elton John. And
yeah,
that was my first, like, just huge impact. I was like 4 or 5. And I just remember roughly seeing that. And something in me was obviously triggered to pursue the guitar. And
yeah,
I think mostly sonically, you know, Brian May and Slash and Nuno Bettencourt, but also
yeah,
I guess like standing on stage and performing and all that. And
yeah,
then my dad would listen to a lot of classic rock stuff. And then from there I got into all the 80s stuff like Van Halen, of course, and
Mm.
Guns and Deep Purple and all those bands. And then um, for a long time I would stay away a bit from really heavy sounds. I was more into very melodic stuff. And then
yeah,
I think the gateway for me was first, I would say, uh, Iron Maiden, of course, and then to bridge or cross over into the really less melodic, more like really heavy stuff. That was Pantera, I would say, because to
yeah,
me, he was he was the guy that, or the whole band to me was a band that understood what Van Halen was doing. They were basically a power trio and
Yeah.
had so much groove and soul in their music. And that's when I was a teen, I really discovered, I would say, also aggression and everything. So
Yeah.
this was really cool to have a soundtrack to that. And then I guess with Pantera, that was my entry into the whole, let's say, more extreme metal world. And then, of course, Lamb of God and all those bands and Gojira and then I would say from there I got into the more Scandinavian, like the melodic death metal stuff.
Yeah.
And probably more or less that leads me or us to where I'm at now. So yeah.
With how did the band's name get created? How did the old band become as what it is now?
It started out in our university. We all went to the same music university in Zurich. We met there, and I don't know, I guess it was just time to build a band where we just felt that we can really put a lot of creativity in, and I don't know, just being free in that sense. The name Illumishade pretty much came from Illumishade, which means like snowfall in Finnish, and then adding Illumishade, Illumishade. There you go. Simple.
It's as simple as that.
Yeah.
It's a great name because it gives you like when you think about it, you're like, right, illumination, the big bright, and then you look at that shade and you're thinking, right, that's dark. It's when you put it together, it's brilliant. Fair play. If I'm correct about your debut album, you're gonna have to bear with me, Bea, because I'm probably gonna say it wrong. Elliptic, is that correct?
Ecliptic. Yeah.
Ecliptic, right. Wake of Shadows. That was released in 2020. What was it like trying to promote the album back in 2020 when basically the whole world shut down because of COVID?
It was shit. No, but I mean, seriously, it was, to be honest, I think we talked about this just recently. Looking back, it was a double, how do you say it, double-edged sword, because to work on the album, actually, it was for us as a group, because we were back then, we just, it was all new. We've known each other, but to get to know your musical partners is a different thing. And so to really get together and work intensely with a lot of time on your hands on this music, I think it was a fantastic experience.
Yeah.
But I mean, that wasn't really your question, because promoting the album.
Well, it's all recording around it as well. Did you have difficulties? Because a lot of artists which I speak to, I ask them this question if they've got an album or they had an album which was coming out during that time. So was it difficult recording it and writing it? Did you have to file share via computers, sending your parts over, or did you get to meet that?
We went like in the beginning to the mountains actually once, but that was before COVID. There we really worked intensely on the songs, but especially on the first album, it was usually either Jonas came up with an idea by himself, kind of, and then we took it from there, come together, or then remotely working on it. Or me coming with something, sending it to Jonas. I remember Jonas and me, we did also a few days, like 2 or 3 together, where I just showed some ideas and he took it from there. Yeah, so I think that the biggest challenge promoting the album while COVID was because we couldn't play live. So
Yeah,
we actually only really feel that we're a live band since this
yeah,
year, because we already played now 12 shows. And in the whole band history before that, until
yeah,
2023, we only played 11 shows, where 2 of them were live streams.
yeah,
So we really didn't get to play that much live. And one positive thing though was that we could do a streaming release show of the first album, so everybody from all over the world could
yeah,
join, which actually was a nice thing. So at least
yeah,
we managed to do that. I think also the crowdfunding was really helpful for that as well, just to get this hype a little bit.
yeah,
But then afterwards, I have to say, this is very difficult. We also did everything ourselves, no label, nothing attached. So I think it was difficult. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's with the new release, the new album, Another Side of You. That was released last week, and I give it a very, very high score. I think it's absolutely brilliant. Your vocals is fantastic. It's amazing. It's an amazing album. Both of them, both albums. Especially the reason why I wanted to speak to you about the debut album was because when I listened to it the other day, I was so shocked because the production about it is, and the album itself is fantastic, and I just wanted to know more about, was it difficult to be able to write and record the album during such a difficult period? But with this album now, it's brilliant. It's like I say, I scored it very, very high on the reviews. um can you tell me a bit about the writing and the recording of this album, and how much different has this album be compared to the last?
Mm, yeah, I mean, writing in terms of writing, this album was more, I think, a bit more than the first one. It was more of a bit of a team effort, I would say, in a sense that um, we kind of embraced all the ideas we had. We had all the band members having their influence on the album, but then again, I think what stayed the same is that at the core, this is Fabi and my music, our songs that we come up with.
Yeah,
And there were some changes in the recording process where during for the first album for Ecliptic, we mostly recorded everything with a producer and engineer from Switzerland. He's a good
yeah,
friend of ours, Claudio Rodriguez. And now for this album, we over the course of these past years, we started working with Joost van der Broek, another from the Netherlands. He's a producer
yeah,
engineer who does many bands. You probably know him, like he does Powerwolf and Epica and Arion and a lot of bands.
yeah,
So he was a really cool fit. And then we still worked with the other guy for mostly guitars. So this album was pretty, you could say it was, the recordings took place in many different places. So it was a bit splattered around,
yeah.
but then he mixed everything. So that's how it came together in the end. And so I would say that's kind of like the main difference. Maybe Fabi, you can comment on the lyrics of the other like differences.
Yeah, we changed the lyrics writing team, which changed the outcome of the lyrics a lot, I would say. So I was working with 2 guys outside the band for the first album on the lyrics,
Yeah.
and now Yannick, our bass player, writes a big part of the lyrics. He's also native English speaking, and
Yeah.
he is a very talented lyricist. So I think now the lyrics are more modern, fresher, lighter in that sense.
Yeah.
And it has less of this fantasy aspect. So I guess that's quite a big difference compared to the first one. Also, I think what is one of the bigger differences is as well that we were writing this album now with for the past 2 years kind of, but we started writing songs without having an actual full-length album in mind. So
Yeah.
it was not like for the previous album where we were from the beginning on like, okay, we need this and this amount of music, but we just started with the second one, and then after a while it was clear, okay, we will make an album, and some of these songs that we already wrote are
Yeah.
now on this album too. So it's
Oh,
more like a collection.
It's a brilliant album. It really, really good. It's like I say, I've done my review last week, so I went back to look at your past records. I can't, during COVID, I can't remember if I reviewed your album or not, because I started all this back in 2018. So, but I would have, I would say I probably would have reviewed the first one. I just, by then, you end up forgetting albums, you get so many. With this album, have you made plans to tour the album? How are you going about with the promotional side of it? And are you going like with the first album? As you said, it was very, very difficult. But is this, and are you treating this album something different compared to the first when it comes to promotional and playing the album?
Definitely. It's a huge difference now because we are playing.
Yeah.
So this is very nice. I mean, as said, we just played now 12 shows in January, February,
Yeah.
and now we will go to North America for a month. We will have a few festivals. We will go on a quite long European tour. Also, we're coming to like UK that we never went to, or Spain that we also never played, and it's just all these new places where we
Yeah.
finally get to play our music. So it's really a difference. First of all, this aspect. Second of all, we are working now together with a label, so of course
Yeah.
things are rolling in a different way, I would say. So far it's been good. We're happy that we signed with a label, with Napalm. I think it also gives push for the live concerts and so on, definitely. So it is very different than to the first album, a lot actually. Yeah.
As of Napalm Records, how have they treated you and how have they been, and what was their response with the new album?
Should I?
Yeah, sorry.
Just it's just about Napalm. No, were they, when I say were they supportive, did they give you the creativity to do what you wanted to do, or was
Yes.
it more stricter? Because I interview a lot of Napalm Records bands, and all I hear is nothing but how great they are, and how they give them the creativity and the freedom to be able to go out and do what they want. So did the label do that with yourselves?
Yeah. I mean, we would have never signed if it would be like, yeah, and we will tell you how you need to sound and how you need to look and so on. And no. Then this would be an absolute deal breaker. No,
Yeah.
we would never do something like that. So we knew from the beginning that they are open and they trust what in what we do, what we have planned, and that's good. Otherwise,
Yeah.
no.
Yeah, I like I say, I interview a lot of artists, and one of the things about when I say the bigger labels, I'm talking like Sony and all those massive things. And when you look at Napalm, Metal Blade Records and all that, they're massive labels in the metal scene. And like I say, I hear nothing but positivity, especially around the heavy metal and the rock album, the rock band sort of labels. You know what I mean? And
I mean, it's good to hear. Yeah. I mean, it's also with. I mean, I think you can count in Nuclear Blast as well. I mean, with Helvetia,
yeah,
we've had a very long and fruitful and cool relationship with them.
yeah. I review a lot of albums with Nuclear Blast, and once again, I've heard nothing but positivity. Again, all the labels which I deal with have been absolutely fantastic with me, and so I've got nothing but praise from me. If I send an email, I get a response back within minutes most of the time. And yeah, Nuclear Blast, Napalm Records, Metal Blade Records, they're all massive labels within the metal genre.
Absolutely.
Finally, you mentioned the UK. Is there anything you can spill to myself about touring, or is there a festival? And what's your plans going forward for 24 and 25?
I can tell you.
We do play UK. We have some UK dates, right, in fall.
Yes, we have the 4th of October in London, the 5th of October in Manchester, and the 7th of October in Bristol.
Oh no, I'll be at that Bristol concert for definite. So that's something I'm really. Do you know the venue?
Exchange. Yes.
It's a great venue. The only problem is for fans. They got pillars. So you're like you're wrestling with other fans to get a good view, but it's a great venue. I loved it. I haven't been there for a while, but it's a awesome venue. Whereabouts in London and Manchester are you playing?
We play okay, so in London, the Underworld.
Nice.
Oh, I've never
legendary.
Been.
Yeah. I've never been. I'm so tempted to give Bristol a miss and go to the Underworld, because I say every year I'm going to go, and I never end up going because Bristol is not far from where I live. So yeah, the Underworld is legendary in the metal scene.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Cool. I'm curious. Yeah. And Rebellion in Manchester.
All good venues. All yeah, you'll love it over here. You'll love it. So anyway, this has been fantastic speaking to you. Good luck with the album, and good luck in North America. Did you say?
Yeah. Thank you.
So,
thank you. Thank you.
What's the name of your dog?
This is Ralph. I got it.
Now he's getting shy. Okay. All right. Camera shy.
Yes.
There he is.
Oh.
Super sweet. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I was talking to Lena, Scissors Aunt, the other week. I did an interview, and he was up, and he was like, "Oh, what's going on?" So she introduced her dog. So she brought her dog, and they were just.
Yeah, I can imagine. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, around. Yeah. More dogs.
Right. Well, we'll get to see you in October, and good luck for 2024, and I see you then.
Thank you so much.
Cool.
All right.
Right.
Have a good evening.
Okay.
Okay, thank
Take
you.
care.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Bye.